Lately, a lot of people have been talking about a specific moment between Taehyung and Jungkook. As often happens, the Jungkook started taking everything out of context. But if you stop to look closely, Jungkook wasn't following anyone's orders, nor was he acting uncomfortable or obligated. What happened was that once again, he chose to be near Taehyung, just like he always has. Surely you remember that moment when all the members were eating together? There was a long table and everyone had their places. Jungkook had his own chair, assigned like everyone else, but instead of sitting there, he chose to stand right behind Taehyung. And it's not like he didn't have anywhere to sit. His chair was there, but placed at a certain distance. It was as if it had been intentionally moved a little away from Taehyung, perhaps to separate the two. But Jungkook didn't care. He made a clear decision to stay by Taehyung's side. We've seen on other occasions that when it comes to being close, Jungkook always chooses Taehyung. Despite that, some people started saying that Jungkook was uncomfortable, that he repeatedly looked at his chair as if he wanted to leave. They even said that the company purposely placed him behind Taehyung to generate fan service. But if he really felt uncomfortable, why wouldn't he have just sat down? Why stay there the whole time, so calm, right next to the person they supposedly wanted to separate him from? What we really saw was something else. We saw Jungkook choosing Taehyung. Not just in that scene, but time and again on different occasions. They ate together, sharing that moment without tension, and without any sign of discomfort. Jungkook was comfortable, sharing a space that clearly mattered to him. Taehyung and Jungkook have a relationship that goes beyond what many want to accept. There's a strong, constant connection, with a trust that needs no explanation. And although many fans insist on denying what is obvious, the gestures speak for themselves. When someone always chooses to be by the same person's side, no matter the circumstances, without needing words or excuses, it's because there's something real there. Of course, the rumors won't stop. There will always be those who invent theories or try to give a different meaning to what's happening. But there's no need to complicate things so much. Jungkook simply chose to be with Taehyung. He did it because he wanted to, and it's not the first time it's happened, nor will it be the last. We've seen it many times. When they can be together, they do. And that has nothing to do with shows or strategies. It has to do with what they share, with the way they look at each other, with how they understand each other without speaking. As much as some try to divert attention or misinterpret what they see, the gestures remain honest. So the next time you see a moment like that, there's no need to look for convoluted explanations. Sometimes things are simpler than they seem. Jungkook didn't stay there by chance or strategy. He was where he wanted to be, by Taehyung's side, as always. Just a few days ago was the anniversary of Winter Bear, that song Taehyung wrote and released several years ago, and which many of us continue to listen to as if it were the first time. No matter how many times you've heard it, there's always something in it that touches a deep place, something calming and comforting. And beyond the melody, the lyrics, Tae's soft and nostalgic voice, Winter Bear also holds an important meaning for what it represents between him and Jungkook. Although some people don't know it or overlook it, the music video for that song was recorded by the two of them together. Taehyung was the one who wrote the song, of course, but Jungkook was there from the beginning, accompanying him, filming every frame, capturing every moment with that attentive gaze of his. It wasn't just that he was behind the camera, he was truly present, as he has always been for him. You don't have to imagine much to understand that Winter Bear isn't just another song. It doesn't sound like something made to be a hit or to be liked out of obligation. It feels intimate, like a personal message turned into art. And Jungkook knows it. That's why, 5 years after its release in 2023, we still saw him sitting there on a live stream, listening to it again. He just stared calmly ahead, his eyes fixed on the screen, on that song, on what it represents, and probably on the memories he has with Taehyung. Jungkook didn't blink much, he just sat there listening silently. It was as if he was reliving something just from the sound of that song. And if you think about it, it makes sense. He was with Taehyung when the song was born, they recorded it together, they shared ideas, which appear in the video. And while many fans feel that song is something of their own, like a kind of refuge on difficult days, it's also true that there's a part of Winter Bear that belongs only to them. Not in the sense that we can enjoy it, but because we know it's filled with shared experiences. Not everything is said in the lyrics, there's a lot left between the lines. And those who have followed Taehyung and Jungkook for a while can tell. There's always been a strong foundation of care and presence in the relationship between Taehyung and Jungkook. It's not just about being together physically, but about being attentive, knowing each other well, knowing when the other needs support. For years, Jungkook has been there for Taehyung through many important moments, and the same goes the other way around. It's in small gestures like this, seeing Jungkook silently listening to a song he helped create with his partner, where that real connection is seen. And while there will always be people who try to diminish the value or meaning of what they share, it doesn't change anything. Negative comments come and go. Sometimes they try to separate them with rumors or assumptions, but in the end, they're still there, walking at their own pace, without needing to prove anything to anyone. They know what they have and have shown it many times, in subtle ways, but clearly. The important thing is that they have each other, and that hasn't changed over the years. There's perseverance, loyalty, and a story that continues to be written little by little. Winter Bear is just one part of that journey, but it's a very special part. Not only because of how beautiful the song is, but because it holds within it a time, an emotion, a clear image of what they've been together. There are many recordings where you can clearly see how Taehyung and Jungkook behave when they are together. It doesn't matter if they are in front of the cameras or surrounded by other people. They have a way of being with each other that seems independent of what is happening around them. It's as if, when they are together, they exist in a space of their own. What is striking is that it doesn't feel forced. There is a clear difference between something that is planned for an audience and something that just happens. When Taehyung and Jungkook are around each other, their bodies react as if they already know what the other is going to do. It's as if they are synchronized without thinking, as if they have already rehearsed it, not out of obligation, but out of habit. And that is not something that can be faked. Some people still say that what happens between them is just part of the fan service, as if their closeness is part of a script or an effort to please the fans. But you only have to observe how they behave to notice that this isn't the case. The way they touch each other, the way they react when the other laughs or becomes serious, all of it is too natural to be part of a show. They do it effortlessly, as if it were the most normal thing in the world. And that speaks to a real, stable relationship, built over time. There's a trust between them that doesn't need to be explained. Jungkook chooses to be around Taehyung constantly. And Taehyung responds in kind. It doesn't matter if they're on stage, at an event, during an interview, or just in a moment behind the scenes. Whenever they're together, a strong connection is noticeable. There's something that sets them apart from many other relationships in the entertainment world. They don't go out of their way to hide what they have. They don't overly expose it, but they don't hide it either. They handle it calmly, without needing to explain everything they do. That's what makes it so evident to those who have followed them for years. Because when you see the same way of being together repeated over and over again, in different places, at different times, you understand that it's not just temporary. One of the strongest aspects of their relationship is the way they communicate without speaking. They don't need to use words to understand each other. Sometimes a glance, a slight smile, or a small gesture is enough for the other to react as if they already knew what was going on. That communication isn't built overnight. It's the result of sharing a lot of time, of knowing each other well, of being present in important moments. And yes, there may be people who want to reduce all of that to theories, speculation, or ideas taken out of context. But that doesn't change what you see. There's plenty of evidence, plenty of moments, plenty of recordings where it's clear that what they share is special. It doesn't need to be explained or defended. Because when two people choose each other so consistently, when their closeness doesn't depend on the place or the situation, you can tell it's real. Taehyung and Jungkook have a solid relationship. It's not based on what others think or the expectations of those around them. It's based on mutual respect, the admiration they have for each other, and the peace they feel when they're together. They don't need to make grand displays or use complicated words. They show it in their way of carrying themselves, in how they care for each other, and in how they react to each other, even in the simplest details. And this can be seen in the way they support each other. When one speaks, the other listens. When one seems tired, the other covers for them without saying anything. When they're in a group, they still find the time to connect with each other. And they don't do it for attention. They do it because that's who they are. Because that connection is part of their everyday life.